I just remember seeing what must have been Vukovar, and just seeing these Serbian Yugoslavs, they were then sort of painted, armoured cars driving right up to apartment blocks and pouring fire into them at very, very, very close range. And it was just, I suppose it was something that really sort of struck me that here we were, sort of in our mess, enjoying pre-dinner drinks, and we were watching not live TV, but we were watching very, very recent footage of events in a town just a few hours away, really. We grew up in this, I suppose, right-wing, middle-class village. Dad was, I suppose, affluent, and we really never thought of anything else other than being conservative. I mean, no logic applied at any point whatsoever. That's just what everyone was. There were things you have to do, and to fit in, and very much, I suppose, living in that village environment, you're expected to be conservative. You aren't anything other than conservative. If you even thought about being anything else, people would look at you as though you lost your mind. You were expected to go away and get a professional job and to get married, have children, and have a big house that everyone else could aspire to. I think my main influence was gardening. We had this great big blasted garden, and I was the one that seemed to cut the lawns. So I used to spend my spare time cutting the grass and weeding the blasted rose beds. Gosh, I used to swear I'd never ever be a gardener ever again in my life. And I think the scouting that I became involved in was the strongest influence on me, I suppose, as a 14, 15-year-old. The ability to escape from home, really, and to get away from that sort of, you're just going to be what we want you to be. I realised as I got to about 12, 13, I just wanted to be a soldier, and an infantry soldier. I'm not entirely sure why, but I guess I saw it as an outdoor way of life. I enjoyed very much camping, marching, climbing. I'd grown up with all the sort of battle comic books and the Victor comic books, and I just sort of decided that's what I wanted to be. I was a soldier. And I started to make inquiries as to how to become a soldier. The school that I was at was a little bit against breeding and training boys to be soldiers. The headmaster actually came out one day and said, "No, we don't want people to be soldiers. I don't educate young men to be soldiers," is what he said. So I made inquiries to find out who the local regiment was. I went for an interview with the Royal Regiment of Fusiliers, who told me then, and I suppose being a grammar school boy, I was thinking of going into the army as a commissioned officer. And they said quite clearly that they didn't think I was mature enough at the time to be commissioned, that I go away and grow up a little bit and then come back and see them again in a few years' time, which was a bit of a setback, really. They said to go to the university, and once you finish university, come back and see us, which is what I did. And I thought at university the thing to do would be to go and join the Territorial Army and actually see if I did enjoy it. I suppose try it before you join, as it were. And at 18 I joined the Royal Anglian Regiment as a territorial soldier, and found that I took to it like a duck to water. At the end of my second year, I'd spent, I think, nearly 6 months with the army in my second year at university, and the school called me in and said, listen, you need to make a decision about what you want to be, whether you want to be a soldier or whether you want to be a solicitor. And I think at that point, you know, it only took me a few days to actually make my mind up that I wanted to be a soldier. And that, you know, I'd prevaricated for long enough. So I went to see the British Army, and they said, no, go and finish your degree, which was a bit of a setback, because my plan was to drop out of university and join the army. I think at the point where, in those sort of week 10 days before I left to join the Foreign Legion, it was an accumulation of the frustration of not actually getting to where I wanted to go to, which is to be a soldier. It was the frustration of having to always do what was expected of you. I knew my parents wouldn't be overly pleased. You know, I wasn't fitting their model. And I thought really that, you know, I tried long enough to fit their model without pleasing them at any particular point. So that wasn't something that I was going to be too concerned about. And I packed my bags. What little things I took with me, I think I took a rucksack and a sleeping bag, and caught the train. I told a friend from school that I was on my way, and that was it. Yeah, I was gone. So you're trained up to this absolute pinnacle of, I suppose, military proficiency. So you can teach people to put socks on and brush their teeth, and you have to not push them too hard. And as that was sort of 89 through until about 90, well, the end of 91, beginning of 92, and all your sort of pent up military ability is just wasted. You'd see guys who you'd done training with, who'd go away on to regiment, would come back medalled up from campaigns, and you were just laughed at by them, really. You know, you're just a base swallower of Castle Norbury. And I think in the 5 years I'd been in the Foreign Legion, I managed to miss most things. When in '84 I joined, we were supposed to go to Beirut, and the French pulled out of Beirut. We were supposed to go to Chad, and we pulled out of Chad. We were supposed to go to New Caledonia when there was an uprising in New Caledonia, and they sent the police instead. And it really got to the point where I had to do something to change. I found myself with a fellow sergeant from the company in what was actually a very quiet mess. And we set to talking, and the conversation turned to, I suppose, the politics of the day and the situation in Croatia, and what we were going to do about it. You know, were we going to just sit there and become, I suppose, fat old sergeants, or we were going to go and do something? And the Legion that I joined, in my mind, should have been doing something about what was happening. And at the point, I suppose, where we had the sort of the conversation, I'd already sort of made something unsaid in my mind, that I was going to take my image of what the Legion should be doing and what I wanted to be doing, which is to make a difference and have something sort of remembered, to do something worthwhile, I suppose, and the two went together, if that makes sense.